Hello students, today we are going to discuss Unit 2nd, First World War and the Russian Revolution of 9th Standard, Unit number 2nd. Among them, the first one is the Western Europe and colonialism in Asia and Africa. This topic we will discuss in the form of the question and answer. So here the question is given, discuss the process of the establishment of the colonies in West Europe, Asia and Africa. Actually what happened? The yearning of the Western European countries for expansion of the empire and acquire new territories, which resulted in these countries going to Asia and Africa. They established their colonies and expanded their rules. Consequently, there arose a competition between European nations to establish colonies. Because anyhow, European people, anyhow, they want to establish their power in Asian and African countries. So they established different colonies. So these European countries have the competition, who have the firm to trade in these countries. Now what happens? After strengthening its grip over India, England expanded its empire up to Sri Lanka, thereafter up to Myanmar, Singapore and Malaysia. Then England entered China also, but unfortunately there was opium trade between England and China. But because of the opium trade, that there was a problem of the opium war, and China lost this war, and England expanded their boundaries, their empire. England, Germany, Russia, America established oil colonies and oil companies in Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and actually their main aim was to make efforts to take care of their own interest. They wanted oil from all this country, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. Even today, America is also interested in these countries only for their oil. That is why there is a war like situation in Iran, and before that Iraq, and before that there was a problem of Kuwait. The Dutch established its colony for the first time at the end of the 15th century in South Africa. England and France established their colonies in Cape and Algeria in North Africa respectively. King Leopoldo of Belgium seized vast provinces of Congo and established his rule. England established its colony in Egypt, some provinces of East Africa and some South Africa. France established its colony in Tunisia, Morocco and West Africa province. England established its colony in Egypt and some of the province of East Africa and some of South Africa. Germany established its empire in some province of East and West Africa. Italy captured the African provinces around the Red Sea. Spain and Portugal also seized some province of Africa. A conference for the European nation was held in Berlin 1884 to 1885. In the midst of this competition held to establish a competition to establish colonies. So in that different African countries were divided among the European nations at the end of the conference. What a conference! Even they were deciding which part, which country will be taken for their trade, their monopoly. So such type of the selfish conference was done, and the colonial dominance of the different European nation was established over the entire Africa. Now we shall discuss and we shall explain the factors that caused First World War. Actually, First World War would be considered as one of the most heartbreaking and unforgettable events of the modern world. Many factors were responsible for this. The First World War began on the 1st August 1914. Again repeat, 1st August 1914. Germany had defeated France in the Sedan War, because of which France had to sign the Frankfurt Treaty in 1871, according to which France had to pay a war fine as well as give away two of its provinces, Lorraine and Alsace, to Germany. France had not been able to overcome this humiliation. Thus, Frankfurt Treaty itself was the cause of the First World War. The end of the war sowed the seeds of a future war. Now we will discuss the factors. First of all, economic factor. In 19th century England, having the vast empire in Asia, Africa, they started to exploit the colony and they started to become more and more richer. And due to industrialization and swift colonization in Europe, they required huge quantity of the raw material, and for this raw material they also required market. And even this raw material is also needed by the England and France too. And that is why there was a tug of war. They started a competition in the market in Asia and Africa, and that led to the World War. And nowadays again such type of the situation. Militarism, second point. Military force was necessary and important for the competition that the European nation got into for expansion. Because if you have the military power, if you have good army and arms and ammunition, definitely that will be helpful, because if you are powerful, you can expand anything. Like nowadays the China is also doing in the same way. Some nations in the Europe began expanding their military power. So it was compulsory for each and everyone to take the military training, because they want their people must be knowledgeable, informative regarding the military arms and ammunition. So production of the weapons was increased day by day under the pretext of the self-defense. What a pretext! What an excuse! For the self-defense nowadays there is also such type of the situation you will find in our neighboring country, because one country if doing something, if for example if we do any experiment, definitely our neighbors will do under the pretext of the self-defense. Thus military competition was added in economic competition, so the atmosphere of war became very fierce. So it can be said this: fierce nationalism and imperialism can give birth to the militarism. Third point is the groupism, secret treaties. The whole world was divided into two groups before the First World War. On the one side, because in the first group, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Bulgaria, Turkestan. On the other side was the group of England, France, Russia, and Japan. So there was a feeling of jealousy, enmity, mistrust, fear, hatred involved between the groups that was increased the revenge in spite of the strengthening peace. If there is group, definitely. Nowadays also, if we are making in the group, other will also make the group, because there will be a bond of the mistrust, a fear will be created, and automatically hatredness will also be created. And that became the important factor of the First World War. Now, next point, fourth one, is the feeling of false nationalism. German chief Kaiser William was the originator of the nationalism and colonialism. Again, I repeat the word, Kaiser William was the other originator of nationalism and colonialism. He was over ambitious and believed that they are born for the leadership, and Germans are born for the leadership. He wanted to get things done according to his will with the help of the grand military power. Due to colonialism, national interest was each other to begin to clash, to solve for own nation. Thus, the feeling of the war spread across the nation, as in Germany had. Now, role of the newspaper. Newspaper has also played an important role in such type of situation. Now, which type of the role? We will go the newspaper of the European nation, and their write-ups aroused feelings of the enmity against the rival nations that the rulers of the respective nations could not even make efforts for establishing peace and harmony. Nowadays in our channel too, you will find the news continuously broadcasting regarding China, Pakistan and other things, because they want to divert our feelings regarding the nations. And if continuously the same news are being telecasting, what will happen? It will be a deep impression on our mind. And sixth one, philosophy about the war. The policy of war welfare took root in Europe. Only the mighty deserve to live, and war alone is the national need. Mighty deserve to live. Wow. If you are powerful, if you are capable, then you have the right to live. If you are not capable, you are not deserving to live. War alone is the national need. Such concepts were made popular by Germany. Nietzsche, the German writer, expressed war as a sacred work. By expressing this, he tried to lead the mind of the people of the European countries towards world war. It became inspirational to create First World War.